Hi, this is Melinda Leslie here at the Center for a New Age, talking about my UFO sighting tours. And we have seen remarkable sightings on my tours. We always see a combination of things. I never know what we're going to get. But for a year-end report, I made a video of the top 22 sightings that we've had. I did it as a year-end report because actually I've never done one of these reviews before. So I included sightings kind of from the beginning of my tours, which has been now, well, in March will be 5 years, and I've completed now 514 tours. But I'm going to share with you, just as a quickie here, the top 3 sightings we've had of my tours. And then I do a countdown on a separate video. So when this is done, if you want to click on the additional video and hear me talk about all 22 of our absolutely best top sightings, I mean, they're all remarkable stories, so I recommend you listen to them. But here are just the top 3 for a quick synopsis. I'm going to count these down from 3, 2, 1. Okay, so number 3. Number 3 was when we saw the 2 triangles together. I've talked about these in the previous reports, but we had 2 large amber lights that on approach came right over us, and as they came and they got lower and they came closer over us, we noticed that then it wasn't just 2 large amber lights, it was 2 distinct hard edge structured craft triangle, equilateral solid triangles. As they came over us, both of them were identical and exactly the same. They had a little amber light at each point, and the rest was just solid. They both looked identical, little amber light at each point, solid, perfect equilateral triangles. They came over us, they did a nice, sharp banking turn, literally turning from like this to turning on their side like this, banked, and then flew off. They'd come from the north, heading south. They did this sharp turn and took off to the northeast. But interesting to just add is as they turned, here comes this military jet from the south, which is the direction of the lights in Phoenix and Phoenix and Luke Air Force Base. But here comes a military jet, and it was kind of already starting to come towards them. And then they did the turn, and the military jet literally follows right behind them. That was interesting. So for what it's worth, it did look like he was actually following them. And that was number 3. Okay, number 2 was a time that we saw a large disc. Disc is your classic UFO shape, that classic UFO, disc, often seen with a dome on top. We were seeing it from the bottom, so I admit we didn't see a dome, but we saw this clear, very distinct round circle, kind of low enough to maybe kind of see the edge of it to make out that it was a disc as opposed to just seeing the bottom of a round sphere. And it had blue lights rippling all over, just like when you see an explosion of an atomic explosion, you see that rippling cloud of a mushroom cloud. Well, this had that same kind of ripple, but it was in shades of blue and white, and it rippling over the surface of it. And it went directly towards a hill. I take us up on a hill. We're right next to an area where there's houses in the distance on a hill. It came up right over that hill where the houses are, hovered right above it, and then dove down on the other side of it. And it just dove down. We kept thinking it would pop back up on either side of the hill or something. No, it just dove down, and we never saw it again. But it was an amazing sighting. And last but not least, number 1 of the best sightings from my tours. And I want people to realize we don't often see structured craft. Yes, we have 14 times, and the other 11 the other 11 I share on the additional report, so be sure and click on that if you want to hear the other 11 times we've seen structured craft. And certainly a disc being the most classic of UFO shapes. But this next one is also a disc, number 1, which is and I've taken, as I said, 514 tours, so obviously structured craft on 14 times. But again, here are the other 22 accounts. You'll love them. Okay, so going back to this one, a large disc. What it was on approach was a large amber light, came right over us, immediately passed over us as a large amber light, and it was so bright that one of my clients, I'm looking up at it just going, oh my God, one of my clients elbowed me And said, Melinda, I go, what? She goes, look down. I go, I don't want to look away from it. She said, no, look. And when I go, what do you mean? I look down, the whole ground was lit up bright orange. It was that bright. It goes over us, it stops, it starts to go straight up, or what appears to be straight up. As it's going up, it switches from this amber color to a bright fluorescent green color, comes back over us as a big fluorescent green light, again lighting up the ground, fluorescent green, passes over us, stops, and then all of a sudden, like snapping your fingers, turns into a big black silhouette of a disc shape, big round disc, flat, round, black shape, and it had on its edge, its leading edge going around it, it had white, amber, and green lights. And at first we thought the white, amber, and green lights were rotating, and then we realized no, that they're probably fixed because the whole craft was rotating. So as the whole craft started to rotate, it went white, amber, green, white, amber, green, white, amber, green, white, amber, green. And it continued to rotate, move towards, we're up on a hill right near Airport Mesa, which has the airport and the runway. And at the end of the runway is a little red light showing that's the end of the runway. This craft continued to drift. I mean, it was just, for most part, hovering. It just continued to drift right over the end of the runway, and just like snapping your fingers, it completely disappeared. It was just there, hovering over the end of the runway, and just boop, gone. And that was that sighting. I was going to say I can't believe it, but I still replay it all the time in my head because I'm very fortunate to have had that sighting. It was amazing. And I appreciate all the times in my life I've had structured sightings, and I know that my clients, because I hear from them again, that they remember these things well. Anyway, so that's it for the top 3 sightings. Again, please see the additional list for all the top 22 sightings. It ain't that long. But thank you so much, and I look forward to taking you out on my tour so you can see these things yourself. Thank you.